And that's why I always get weird looks when I loiter in the park. The best way to bet the NFL is win totals. In this win projection series, you will get to see the logic behind Big Ryan the Fat Guy's win total projections and how you can win whatever contest you decide to enter for the 2018 season.
Now to recap the Falcons' 2017 season, they went 10-6 under fourth-year head coach Dan Quinn. They made it to the playoffs. They beat the upstart Rams, and they lost to the eventual winners, the Philadelphia Eagles, in quite a close game. The Falcons played about as good as they should have. It was a decent season all the way around. They're going to look to improve on that, and they are, in fact, Super Bowl contenders.
So let's take a look at the coaching staff. The Atlanta Falcons head coach is Dan Quinn. In his 3 seasons with the Falcons so far, he's gone 29-19. Fat Guy, what are your thoughts on Quinn?
Now, I'm going to go all John Gruden go. Now, here's a guy who knows defenses. And he does. He ran the Legion of Boom, the Seattle Seahawks, when they won the Super Bowl and had a historic defense a la the 85 Bears. So Quinn is definitely a defensive guru, although the star of this Atlanta Falcons team isn't necessarily the defense.
Steve Sarkisian took over as the offensive coordinator last year after Kyle Shanahan left to become the head coach of the San Francisco 49ers. Fat Guy, how did you feel about Sarkisian's first year as the O coordinator?
About as good as I do now after hours and hours of drinking last night, which probably is what Steve Sarkisian has been doing this entire summer. He was lukewarm at best, let's say.
At defensive coordinator, Marquand Manuel is back for his second year. Any thoughts on Manuel?
Not really. This is Dan Quinn's defense, so it really lives and dies on his scheme. So the current defensive coordinator is really just a puppet of the boss, Dan Quinn.
Now, for player additions, there's only really 2. They didn't do too much in the offseason, and one of those is a rookie wide receiver in Calvin Ridley, who they took in the first round.
Calvin Ridley, an Alabama alma mater, just like Julio Jones. It really adds this third dynamic to the offense, because now you have Sanu, Ridley, and Julio, and that is a triple threat. Singing, dancing, and flashing.
They also added right guard Brandon
Fusco sounds better, I think.
And he started off with the Minnesota Vikings. He played for San Francisco for a year, and now he's on Atlanta.
Well, it kind of bolsters the offensive line a little bit. Andy Levitra was on injured reserve in January, just adding some depth more or less, but they should be starting next to each other going forward.
And the only notable subtraction or release that they had was defensive end Derek Shelby.
And I'm not going to lose sleep over it. They drafted DeCaris McKinley last year, so there definitely is a guy to fill in right away. And if not, you can find someone at that caliber in free agency if need be.
Now let's break down the roster. At quarterback, obviously Matt Ryan. Your thoughts?
Matt Ryan's a strong quarterback. You can say what you want about him or his contract. He's a winner in the NFL. He's a former league MVP. Matt Ryan is quality. He got what he deserved, to be perfectly honest.
At running back, they have Devontae Freeman, Tevin Coleman, and they've also brought in 4th-round draft pick Ito Smith.
Ito Smith, I'm not sure how necessary that pick was, but Dimitroff is a guy that just drafts the best guy on the board. If it's Ito Smith, then he's probably a talented young individual. However, though, it's going to be tough to get snaps with the powerhouse of Freeman and Coleman. They're just one of the best 1-2 punches in the entire NFL.
Yeah, for me, it's going to take an injury for Ito to have to play.
I agree.
At receiver, they added in Calvin Ridley, but they still have Julio Jones and Mohamed Sanu.
Like I said, that is just a devastating potential for that trio. That's why Sarkisian really, really is on the hot seat if he can't make this work, because everything is in your favor. That is going to be a brutal trio this year.
At left tackle, they have Jake Matthews. At left guard, Andy Levitra. Center, Alex Mack. Right guard, Brandon Fusco. And right tackle, Ryan Schrader.
Now, the strength of this O-line starts from the center out. Alex Mack is a premier center. He's probably the best center in the league. He followed Kyle Shanahan from Cleveland to Atlanta, and I think he took less money to play in Atlanta, and that's when their offense really, really took off. He's just an impeccable center. The rest of the O-line is kind of middling. Jake Matthews has been lukewarm at best from the famed Matthews football family. I think he's a cousin of Clay Matthews. I expect big things from this offense, and I think Alex Mack is the guy that should be the centerpiece, more or less, for lack of a better term.
And probably the weak spot of this offense is tight end with Austin Hooper, Eric Selbert, and Logan Paulson.
Logan Paulson was blocking tight end more or less from Washington. He's done a couple of trick plays for Washington that were kind of neat. Austin Hooper had a few big plays last year, but he really can't be counted on to be a premier tight end, I think, in this league. I mean, it's serviceable, but when you have all those wide receivers and running backs, you don't need to be emphasized on tight end too much.
Now on to the defensive side of the ball. Let's look at the D-line first. I'll list off a bunch of players. Brooks Reed, Jack Crawford, Grady Jarrett, Derek Shelby, Vic Beasley, Takaris McKinley. Fat Guy, what do you think about these guys?
Sounds like you're listing off the cast of Nick Cannon's Wild and Out. It's a decent group. I mean, I really expect more out of him. Grady Jarrett's known for having such a good performance in that infamous Super Bowl where they dropped a 25-point lead. I expect more out of this defensive line. I really want to see if McKinley can make a difference. He's supposed to be an impact player. He's a first-round pick from last year. Brooks Reed is a average to above average player. I mean, really, that's what this whole group is, average to above average. But are they going to play average or are they going to play above average? That's really what I want to know this year.
At inside linebacker, they're highlighted by Deion Jones and Devondre Campbell.
Yeah, those guys are decent. I see Devondre Campbell get burned a lot, but he's still a decent player. Let's not forget to talk about Vic Beasley, who just 2 years ago led the league in sacks. So they need to find a way to get him loose situationally, because he can really get after it. He's a bit of a liability in the run game. Obviously, coverage is probably out of the question, but he can get after it. So they're going to have to find ways to get him to get to the quarterback.
Now on to the secondary. At corner, they have Robert Alford, Desmond Trufant, Brian Poole, as well as they've added in Bleedy Ray Wilson and Justin Bethel. And then at safety, they have Keanu Neal and Ricardo Allen.
Don't forget about second-round pick Isaiah Oliver out of Colorado. Now, cornerback isn't a need whatsoever for the Falcons, and Dimitrov and company decided that they needed to draft the best player on the board. And if that's Isaiah Oliver and he's a good corner as where they drafted him, then this is going to be something good for the secondary. Keanu Neal is a vicious player. I really, really like him. Desmond Trufant is a premier cornerback in this league. Robert Alford is no slouch. And if they can make something out of this second-round pick, they're going to be pretty solid in the secondary. It's definitely the strength of this defense.
It's not too many teams we talk about kickers, but Matt Bryant is awesome.
Anybody who's had Matt Bryant in fantasy knows how valuable this bald, sweet gentleman is. Every clutch kick you need, Matt Bryant delivers.
Now, what would you say is the strength of their roster?
Well, like I just mentioned previous, the defense is highlighted by the secondary. It's the stars of this defense. And on offense, let's get real. It's the skill positions. Jones, Ridley Sanu, Tevin Coleman, and Devonta Freeman, one of my favorite players. I mean, Matt Ryan's an excellent quarterback, but he's got a lot of weapons to work with.
So everyone knows the Falcons are good. Where can you poke some weaknesses in that team?
That front seven, like I said, they're average to above average. If they really want to make a run at the bowl, they're going to have to be above average. And the exterior of the offensive line, it could really do for an upgrade. Tight end, I'm not too worried about because, let's be honest, that skill position crew is just so good.
So, Fat Guy, what do you think the team grade is for the Atlanta Falcons going into 2018?
Like my hepatitis test, it's a B. Well, a B minus. This is a solid quality group. And a word to the wise, don't chew gum you find underneath a desk.
So going into 2018, Big Ryan the Fat Guy have the Falcons winning 9.43 games. Will Big Ryan the Fat Guy take the over, under, or is this a no bet? And the line at the moment is Falcons at 9.5.
Well, if we have them at 9.43 and the Falcons are at 9.5, there really is no wiggle room. It's going to be a no bet.
Hit the like button if you agree with Big Ryan the Fat Guy. Give us a comment below if you think we're stupid or if you want to guess the Fat Guy's weight. Subscribe for more non sequiturs and NFL projections.
You got a seatbelt extender?